Folks, welcome to your week. This is So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is the Pop Culture Roundup. We have her back. It's been 2 long weeks. She's coming off a trip from Philadelphia, and if you're not watching this on YouTube, she is very sunburned, I think. I noticed it. Actually, it's good coloring now that I see it. But also, we're going to talk later, Tribeca Film Festival star. We'll explain that later, but we got so much to talk about, so let's get into it. Sophie Ross, welcome back to the show.
Hi, and how about you tell everyone where you just were?
Listen, I was in Overland Park, Kansas. I officiated the wedding of Aaron and Will Shanahan, or Will and Aaron Shanahan, who are listeners of this podcast, and it was insane. It was so cool. I got to go visit where I grew up in Olathe, which is like 20 minutes away from Overland Park, and I hadn't been back there for like 25 years or something crazy. So it was amazing, but it was just like 2 really crazy days. I think I have an ear infection. Yeah, good stuff. Classic Ryan Bailey stuff. Yeah.
I mean, this made me realize, I was like, what are we doing not having Ryan officiate our wedding?
I will tell you, Sophie, after I officiated this wedding, and I have a feeling they're going to be together forever, I was like, this is my 3rd wedding I've officiated, and each one of the first 2 couples are still together. I think I'm a solid choice, but I get that it's probably too late in the game for this to change up. But I do want to say I would have been great. I would have been great.
We would need you to become a rabbi.
You know what? Crazy thing, Sophie, is I've been in rabbinical school now for the last year, and I'm learning so much about your people.
Oh my God.
Wait, what were you in Philadelphia for?
Just family, just visiting. That's where my fiance's family lives, and I was in the sun for too long. So here I am.
It kind of does look good coloring, but maybe it's going to turn bad tomorrow.
You know what? Every time, that I've been on my Survivor binge.
Yes.
I'm like, every time I watch Survivor, I'm like, I would become so tan and skinny going on this show. Like, oh my God.
Wait, Sophie, I think why don't you apply to be on Survivor? We've probably mentioned that before, but you would be great. Like, my knees are busted. I'm too thick.
Oh yeah,
I think, to be on Survivor.
Told me that you actually
know
someone. Who
I know the casting.
Okay,
yes, we have talked about this before.
Let's make it happen.
Because you would be hysterical if you were just laying out and then people would be talking shit about you by the campsite.
I'd be the person at the camp that like didn't do anything. Like everyone would be like gathering firewood and like fishing, and I would just be laying out.
And you'd come back and you're like, I got good sun today. Is there? Can I have some of this fish that I didn't catch?
And everyone in their confessionals would be like talking so much shit about me, but I would be like the goat. I'd be like the person that people would drag to the end because they would win against me in the final 2. Because
but then I think what would happen is in the final, like when everybody's questioning you guys in the finale, I think you would come correct, and then know how to talk your way into.
Yes, I would put on the performance of a lifetime.
Yeah. And you would be so like, you're like, you think I even like to tan? I did that as a mind manipulation game against the other players.
I did that so you would bring me as a goat to the finals.
Well, listen, I know you're on your Survivor rewatch, but you didn't even catch up to this past season yet, did you?
No, I'm still watching all the early seasons. Right now, I'm actually on season 1, Borneo, the season that Richard Hatch wins, the first season of Survivor.
You're on the first season?
Yeah. So I've been watching kind of out of order all of the early seasons, and I'm finally on season 1, and it's really like, it's
Sophie,
slow. I'm surprised that it was such a hit because season 1 was slow, you guys.
But Sophie, I remember when this first came on and I was immediately addicted. We had never seen anything like this before. It was crazy. It got 41 million viewers at the season finale because it grew and grew because people just kept talking about it. And the final ceremony, when you had, I forgot her name, when she was like talking about the rats, like, you're a rat, and like voted for Richard to win, spoiler alert. And Richard was such a punk that, it was so brutal and so good, but it shows you how reality television, if you have a successful show, eventually it gets on steroids where it doesn't look anything like how it started.
Yeah,
you can make the same argument with Vanderpump Rules. It's a completely, sometimes different show or a more intense show now. Even though Vanderpump Rules has always been intense, it just seems like now it almost eats itself. And I think Survivor does that as well.
And also the fact that Richard Hatch was like this huge, like hated villain. And I'm like, you should see the TV villains we have now.
Yes.
Like there is nothing like that bad about him. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
And I just remember Richard would be like walking around just naked. He was like a nudist.
Yeah.
And he would make everybody uncomfortable. And that's when they used to have, it was like 39 days, not 29 days like it is now.
No, it's like 26 days now.
See, that's bullshit. I want 39 one season, days.
Actually, I think maybe the Outback where it was like 43 days. It was like the one season that was 43 days.
Well, see, this is my problem with Survivor now, though, Sophie, is that you didn't watch this past season. But what it is now is that there's so many Survivor fans that these people train now their entire lives. They've watched every season of Survivor. They've practiced every game. So it's like almost they come in knowing too much about Survivor where it makes it such a messy show because they're just trying to blindside people to be Survivor legends instead of just playing the damn game. Like I want people that are good, that don't know the history of Survivor.
And that's why the early seasons were so good also.
Exactly.
Oh my God. We'll never get that back. Also, there's never going to be appointment television where 41 million people are watching anything at the same time. That does not happen anymore except with like the Super Bowl.
Yes. No, I mean, totally.
We have too many like streaming services. Like, you know, it's just crazy that used to be life in the year 2000.
In the year 2000. Okay. So you heard, I guess we'll start here then. Traitors season 3 is filming right now in Scotland, right? And there are a couple Survivor players on season 3 of Survivor. We've got Carolyn Weiger. Did you watch her season?
No, they're all from seasons that I haven't watched. So like,
oh my God.
Them yet.
Okay, so you have, I loved her season with Yam Yam, I believe. You have some Big Brother contestants like Danielle Reyes. You have Dylan Efron, who is Zac Efron's brother, which I don't know that.
Why is he on that show and not Claim to Fame? Which, by the way, season 3 of Claim to Fame is back July 10th.
I have a note to tell. I was like, I bet Sophie knows this, but Sophie is a big proponent of the ABC show Claim to Fame. You love it, and it comes back for its season 3.
And so does my fiance, and he does not enjoy any of my reality shows except Claim to Fame. That's like our like it brings us together. It's very rare that we have a show that we're like, oh, Claim to Fame is on. Like we need to sit down and watch it together. I'm telling you, watch Claim to Fame, everyone. It's going to be on Hulu also. And the previous 2 seasons are also on Hulu. I've been telling people to watch this for so long and no one like takes me up on it.
Well, sorry, you guys. Sorry, I have a tickle in my throat from being sick. Okay, so the other reason I wanted to bring this up because the other Bravo cast members are Traitor season 3. Of course, we have Tom Sandoval, that goof. This guy is failing upwards. I don't know why he keeps getting these.
That is what happens to Bravo men. They like get to fail upwards. It's
wild.
It's so upsetting.
You have Dorinda, you have Dolores Catania, but I wanted to start here because there was a Demois blind item that came out this past week.
Oh,
that has to do.
I know what you're gonna say.
And this is going to get us into Summer House, which just had its first part of the reunion this past week, and I thought it was really interesting. So, the subject line: "Were you blind or were you blindsided?" The message: "Looks like one bubbly Bravo star's attempt to deceive went flat faster than a glass of Day Old Prosecco. This summer stunner thought she could house a little secret is this realm of deceit." But when a certain Bravo dame caught wind, she went berserk to producers. Once this pretty little liar was exposed, not only was she clipped from the show, but she was also replaced by someone who she's not only shared a roof with, but a beau with as well. Guest honesty really is the best policy, even when playing games. Now, Sophie, tell the audience who this is supposed to be about.
First of all, I fucking hate the way that people like write these Demois blinds like they're like Gossip Girl. Was that Danielle, by the way? Was that Danielle like spending like 3 nights staying up writing that?
Poor man, Danielle had the worst reunion performance where she admitted she was the one that put it out to Demois that Craig got kicked out of Amanda and Kyle's wedding.
That's a whole other thing. We'll get to that.
Okay. Anyways.
So this blind is about the fact that Lindsay was allegedly cast on Traitors first, and she was trying to hide the fact that she was secretly pregnant, which they wouldn't allow pregnant people to play the Traitors, which seems like it could be like discrimination, but also at the same time, I get it because like they do a lot of physical challenges. Like I understand that. Yes. It'd be like going on Survivor pregnant. You just like can't do that. So I get it. But apparently she was secretly pregnant. And then like Dorinda
got wind of it supposedly, right, according to this blind, and told producers. And so allegedly Lindsay was kicked out, and they replaced her with Sierra, and they had shared Austin as a boyfriend or a boy toy at one point.
Right.
So allegedly they're saying Sierra got on because Lindsay lied to producers about being pregnant. Dorinda was the one that busted her out. This seems really far-fetched, but at the same time, it all hinges on, is Lindsay Hubbard pregnant?
She's denied. She recently denied it on the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast.
Sophie, she also recently denied it on the So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey podcast.
And she recently denied it on the So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey podcast. And she posted herself, I guess they're all in Italy for Andrea's wedding right now. And she posted herself like drinking. It could be a mocktail, but I was like, oh, she's drinking like a little spritz. So I don't know. I guess.
Well, today she posted a photo and her purse was she was wearing a loose fitting dress. God, I'm a grown man. I'm like, she was wearing a loose fitting dress and she had her purse right where the belly is. So I was like, maybe there, and she was like all posting about how many sandwiches she's eating, which I know that's her thing. How many sandwiches have you made for me? But is it possible that Lindsay went and got pregnant? And then I'm scared because they're going to film Summer House in July. Does that mean Lindsay, like, will they still let her go there? Or is she going to be fighting with Carl all summer?
Okay, were there Italian meats on the sandwiches that she was posting? Because I'm pretty sure you can't eat Italian meats when you're pregnant. So that could be another clue.
Well, I don't try. By the way, Lindsay told me she was not pregnant, and and I tried to gently bring that up. She said all that Reddit shit was bullshit. But I will also say I love Lindsay Hubbard, but I also don't trust any of these Bravo celebrities. I think they lie to your faces. I have tons of Vanderpump people lie to my face.
Totally.
Like I totally get that, and I get that you wouldn't want to announce your pregnancy on So Bad It's Good, even though I think this is a great place to announce any pregnancy. Sophie, do you want to announce anything?
That would be the biggest scandal if my fiance and I there are some couples where it's like not a big deal, but when you come from like a traditional family, oh my God,
Sophie's like, we bumped up the wedding from October to July. We need to do this now.
Shotgun wedding, baby. Shotgun. Yeah, I don't know. If she is pregnant, she better fucking be on Summer House this season, because I'm sorry, we talk about how great West and Jesse are. Well, we'll get to West.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We talk about like the new additions and how, Paige and Sierra have stepped it up. But everything will always revolve around Lindsay. All of the drama will continue to revolve around Lindsay. Like, she is the backbone of the show. I know a lot of that goes for like Kai Manda also.
And by the way, Sophie, I think what Sophie's also saying, you guys, is that usually the people that bring or cause the most drama, those are the backbones of a lot of these shows.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I know I've always been like a Paige critic, and she has had some amazing confessionals this season. She's a narrator. We don't know much about her. Only storyline for the past few seasons has been, will she or won't she move to Charleston with Fred?
Yeah.
By the way, are they going to move in together? Which one is going to move to New York?
Like, we've seen that scene again and again and again. Exactly. It's a Groundhog's Day.
That is her only storyline. She will never. She's extremely buttoned up. She is never going to be the messy, candid drama. Like, that is Lindsay. Like, we have people like Lindsay and Kristen Doty for those reasons. They are the drama. Like, they're the messy. Like,
that's why I think.
Like, that's the difference between like a Paige reality star and a Lindsay reality star.
And by the way, both
are a narrator, and one is actually the drama. And there will be nothing for Paige to narrate if Lindsay isn't there.
You're so damn right, because both you need both in every show, right? You need both, and that's why I think there's such an affinity for Doty even after all of these years and all this stuff. Because man, it's like you just can't help but have drama surround you, and I with Paige, she really is very aware, but a lot of people, when they're that aware, they're not entertaining. Paige is still very entertaining. And she's also, whether you liked, I've come around on Paige this season. She is funny, man. And her chewing out Kyle Cook a couple episodes ago about Amanda, I was like, she nailed it. And she also nailed Wes Wilson this reunion. She nailed him. It was the way she spoke. It was poetic almost.
I do need to talk about the fact that like everyone was like, oh my God, the girls really came together. And then at the reunion, they were yelling at Lindsay for posting a photo of them. Like, I didn't understand that part. Like, I don't like, oh, you posted that. And then everyone would assume we're on your side and not Carl's side. It's like, why would you be on Carl's side? Fuck Carl. Like, if you're going to be a girl's girl, be a girl's girl and not just to your friends, in my opinion.
I think two things can be true at once. And also, I do appreciate it sometimes because you realize how real it is and that they really do know each other in certain ways. And we've seen the Paige-Lindsay relationship since the beginning. Yeah. They've never gotten along. So I appreciated that Paige could, in that last scene of the finale, come together, say he did you a favor. And I think truly meant it because everybody, even the audience, knew these people shouldn't be together. But at the same time, it's not going to thaw ice from like 7 seasons or however many seasons they've been together. It's not going to correct anything like that. So I do wish that she had taken it a little easier on Lindsay and not made it as obvious she still dislikes Lindsay this much at the reunion when we had bigger fish to fry.
What is with her at the reunion? I saw a tweet that was like, is Paige like, is she told by the producers that if she doesn't eviscerate Lindsay at every reunion, then she's like not going to get a new contract? Because it's like every reunion, like clockwork, it doesn't matter what happens during the season itself.
Sophie, listen, that's another story I wanted to talk about today with Scheana and Alex Baskin, and Scheana revealing on her podcast that Alex Baskin said you and Lala have to really heat things up, which is funny. But with Paige isn't going anywhere. Like, Paige's job is fully secure. In fact,
and she also doesn't need Summer House.
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, I'm not a big, like I've had my opinions about Hannah and Paige throughout the seasons, but I will say what I love, I don't listen to Giggly Swad, but what everybody tells me is that podcast has nothing to do with Bravo and it's successful. Good for them. Yeah. I'm so tired of the Vanderpump cast podcast universe and the extended universe.
Totally. Also, going back to the reunion we need to talk about West and Sierra and also connecting it back to the Traitors casting.
Yes.
I was a little bit surprised. Speaking of that Dama rumor, I was like, Sierra, huh? Like, I've always kind of been like okay, Sierra, sure. Like, maybe she didn't have to develop a personality because she's so beautiful. Like, she's just I've never really like figured out what her personality is, if it exists. And you know what? At the reunion, I am like such a Sierra stan now. After watching part 1 of the reunion, like she was so vulnerable and so like, I think that she's just a very like walls up person. She also comes from trauma. Like, she has a traumatic childhood. Abandonment issues. It's very similar to Lindsay and also Carl. Like, it really like these like, traumatic events, traumatic childhoods, whatever it is, have really like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's informed kind of how they act on these shows. And, you have people like, I don't know, Amanda, who comes from a really stable household, Paige. They don't have the same kind of like, I think like walls and trauma. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I totally know what you meant.
I asked Ryan for permission if I could take half an edible before this episode or if like what he thought. And now it's starting to hit me. So sorry if that doesn't make sense.
Ride that wave.
But you know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at?
Yes.
And I really like it. It really changed my opinion about Sierra a lot. Just like watching her on the part 1 of the reunion, and fuck West. And I'm so proud that I never jumped on the West bandwagon. I have receipts to back it up. I always said there's something off about him. There's something that gives F-boy Jesse Solomon is the real star.
So wait, no, Sophie, I am not going to let you go down this path. I am not going to let you go to Jesse is like 2 mistakes away from being exactly where Wes Wilson is.
Okay, but Jesse is at least honest about who he is. He has said from the beginning, I'm just playing the field. Like, I don't know, like if I meet the right girl, then yeah, but right now I have a lot of options.
Well, that's what I said. He said he wants to find a wife, but like this wife would have to literally be the most perfect person in the world, and he knows that. He's like, I keep saying I want to find a wife because it sounds good, but that wife would have to be the number one lady that's ever existed.
I mean, like if I were engaged, like he like done
well,
deal.
Okay.
I actually listened to him on the We Met at Acme podcast, which is a dating podcast with Lindsay Metzler. And he's been single for 5 years now. He's had some long-term situationships, quote unquote. So yeah, Jesse Solomon is also obviously an F-boy, but at least he's upfront about it. Like,
see, I feel like there's a 5 degree. I feel like, well, like Paige said at the reunion, the bar is so low for men. You're literally celebrating that he admits that he wants to fuck women. You're like, what a good guy. By the way, I like Jesse. I like that. Wes.
I didn't like how Jesse Solomon like came to his defense, but also like, of course he did. Like, it makes sense that he would.
Well, this is what's so funny about Jesse and West is that they're bringing knives to a gunfight. You're not going to be able to go up against Paige DeSorbo and make sense. So when Jesse tried to stand up for West, he was like, I just think he was like two good people that like ships passing in the night that didn't work out. And it was like, even Sarah was like, shut up, Jesse. And it's so true. Like West sat there like a log. West sat there and he is so used to being his cutesy internet self or his like fun guy persona that he had even the first 5 minutes that I watched of the part 2 of the reunion, he has not even a defense, but he has no way of explaining anything because he's so used to being a TikTok guy. He's so used to like doing his little dance and his little
I hate him.
Which is really funny. But at the same time, when the thing about Sierra too, I couldn't agree more, is that we watched her personality grow through the seasons. And finally this season, and that is something West was great because it actually made us see Sierra in a different light. And you really like her. And also, I really celebrated the fact that she did not want to sleep with this guy because she knew that it could potentially. And so that's the gigantic fuck you, Wes. That's the gigantic fuck you because you waited until you slept with her. And then in December, and how ridiculous. Bravo watch parties? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So you're telling me you'd rather fuck Bravo viewers? And by the way, we're all giving Wes a hard time, but everybody out there listening, you'd probably still hook up with Wes. Don't tell me you wouldn't. Not you, Sophie, but the rest, everybody. He's going to be fine.
Ew. I would hook up with Jesse Solomon. I mean, like,
no, we know.
Don't tell my fiance, but you know what I mean. But
listen, I had Jesse give you a shout out when he was on the show. He's aware
that you exist. Oh my god. But yeah, that part actually made me as emotional as it did to Kyle Cook when Sierra was like, I just don't like to give myself to people unless I'm serious with them. And
we're not used to that. We're not used to people having actual standards. But the unfortunate thing was that she was, I don't know if fully bamboozled, but she was led to believe that she should give herself physically to him.
He was saying whatever, it sounds like at least, that he was saying and doing whatever he had to do to reach his objective, which was sleeping with her. And then he did, and then he dropped her.
Well, I call him
again. It's like Sierra has, from what we know, abandonment issues. She has, trauma from being abandoned, and she
has Austin trauma. She has now West trauma,
and also it's like, I don't know. You wonder like what dynamics are in play when it comes to like race. Like she is like falling for these mediocre white fuck boys and they keep fucking her over. I don't know. I can't imagine the kind of complex that it gives her. And I just like want to give her a hug. And I just, it's just absurd.
I call West, his new name is West Just the Tip Wilson. He's that guy that's like, hey, just the tip, babe, just the tip. Oh, it feels so good. He was like, I don't even want to wear a condom. Oh, it feels so good. Like he's that guy.
Also, can I just remind everyone that he was not that like, I've been laid off before. I know what it's like to be unemployed. But again, like Sierra, you can do better. You can do better.
Well, she knows. I mean, I think she knows. And I think he is so, he's probably always like been not cocky, but he knows he's funny. He knows he's cute. He has this persona that he has that women always fall for.
Did you see him in his promo for Nick Vialli's podcast?
Well, yeah, I have. Okay, you guys, listen, I know we give Nick Vialli a hard time here, but I will say after watching the promo video for Wes Wilson and Nick Vialli, I think that hard time is deserved. I've never seen something that has made me more uncomfortable than the promo for Wes Wilson on Nick Vialli's podcast. And I also want to say that I realize me speaking about Nick Vialli, there is a bit of jealousy because I don't get, like, he is at such a high point of getting the guests that he doesn't need to like get things approved by Bravo. Like I have Dodie on last week. I have to cut 6 things out of it. Like he doesn't have to cut shit, but he's the guy that wants to be looked at as funny, and he is not funny at all. He might make good points. He might have great conversation. He might mumble to himself great things on the show. I don't know. But I will say him raising his shirt up and doing the little belly dance, I wanted to internally explode. And I felt so bad. But the thing is, like, he wants to, you could tell. And because Wes was like, he's so used to being that way. And he's like natural at it.
Oh my God. But after watching the reunion, I was like so disgusted by both of them. And if you don't know what TikTok I'm talking about, go to Nick Viles. I can also I'm sorry. I could post it on my Instagram stories when this episode airs on Monday. So you could see what I'm talking about. And again, I'm sorry. I don't want to put it in front of more eyeballs, but I feel like you need oh my God, stop. But also what's important to note, I know that you feel a little bit, I know that you feel a certain way about Nick Vialli and like the jealousy thing. Okay, sure. How about
I'm gonna give him his credit. Like he's worked up to and by the way, he did that by already people knowing who he was, but I'm not gonna be an idiot. I know he's super successful. I know he gets I would kill to get an hour interview with some of these people. Are you kidding me? I just hated that video.
But one reason to not be jealous of him is that it came out, and I meant to bring this up 2 weeks ago when we talked, that it has come out on Reddit and in other places that his new wife and mother of his child, Natalie Joy, allegedly had a whole affair right after they got engaged.
How long ago did they get engaged?
Early. It was January of last year. So yeah, if you want to know more, I actually went on Christie's podcast, X Knows All. If you're familiar,
I like Christy a lot.
Best. And that episode is actually coming out Sunday night. So if you're listening to this, the episode should be out where we talk all about this alleged affair. So,
is Christy trying to directly compete with me now? Are you kidding me? Stealing my Monday are you kidding me? Wow. It's going. No, so you talk all about this alleged affair.
Yes. And
have they commented on it? Has he commented on it?
No, Nick. But he actually has. He apparently brought it up on one episode. He's like, why would I address internet rumors? Why would I do that? It's just you give more airtime to them. So he has gone out of his way to just be like, I'm not going to address it because, that's peculiar to me because he lives in the comments as well, I would say. He lives in the comments. Yes, absolutely. He lives on Reddit. He tends to
Does he really?
Yeah. He
I say his
address a lot of things. He's very aware of what's being said about him. In my opinion, it definitely 1000% happened. I know I have to say.
Well, but they have a new child, right? They have a baby now. They have a new child. So obviously, if it happened, they have worked through it, right? Obviously,
worked through it. But I look at his relationship in a totally different light now. Not that I ever was like, oh my God, they're the paragon of happiness and marital bliss. She's 18 years younger than him, and he's fucking disgusting. But that definitely makes me look at them in a different light. He has this whole brand of being a relationship guru. He was never gonna let this.
But Sophie, that's why it's so funny. Anybody, that's what I always say, influencers or whatever, don't listen to anybody about relationships. Nobody knows what they're doing. Everybody has a horror story. Everybody has that. Like, why would we ever listen to somebody that like went on any of these dating reality shows in the first place? I mean, if you speak with confidence and you're a good looking person, you're bound to try to listen to somebody or want to listen to them more. But it's ridiculous when you sit and think about it, because you're going to learn more from actually living your life and listening to your friends and family than you ever will any influencer or any reality star.
And even some of these like dating influencers, like, I'm sorry, Tinks. Why are you asking?
I met her a couple weeks ago at Jeff Lewis. Finally, I met her in person.
How was it?
Well, she barely gave me the time of day. It was,
of course.
I mean, but she was another person that really gave relationship advice, right? That was her whole brand, or is her whole brand.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why are we going to like, not to say like, oh, single people can't give relationship advice, but I do think it's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah. It's like, well, what is your track record? Because you don't seem to have like a great one. I'm sorry if that makes me sound like.
No. I mean, like, these are all I'm
like talking shit about like unemployed people and single people. It's like, trust me, I have been those things at the same time.
Well, okay. But to get to, anyways, Wes Wilson is going to be on Nick Viall's podcast. So we're promoting the hell out of that. But West really fumbled the bag. And by the way, I understand that you might not want to be with Ciara. I understand that it might not be your bag, but we knew that he wasn't into Ciara during the show. When they went horseback riding and he had that whole conversation with her about like, I only usually get this far in a relationship anyways. It's kind of like shackles. He like, and by the way, that's not him because he let it keep going after filming stopped. And for him, it is very revelatory for him to be so like realizing that this is a show that he's going to get attention. It shows that these shows really do mess with people in a certain way when their name starts getting mentioned. And the fact that he thought he was going to be looked at and Ciara was like a puppet master. Ciara couldn't be a puppet master even if she wanted to be a puppet master. Like, are you kidding me? He was like worried that he was going to be looked at as a puppet. Are you like, oh my God.
He's such a dumbass. He's such a dumbass loser. And like you said, he was like totally unprepared for the reunion. Did you catch when he asked Amanda? He was like, so this is an hour?
Yeah, I know. That was so funny.
Also, wait, speaking of Amanda.
Well, yeah. I want to get to that rumor in one sec. Two more things though about West is that West also, the comment of Paige saying, two people, Lindsay and Carl, are having the worst year of their lives. And you're texting us going, this is the best season ever. Like, he literally was so excited that people were loving it that much. And then I also want to say Jesse Solomon picked the bad week because he has a Jesse and West t-shirt of them in the pool together. And the profits go to a good cancer charity, you guys. But that t-shirt is now available to order. And what would Jesse Solomon do? The remix is actually officially getting released this week on Spotify and Apple Music.
I am excited for that. What would Jesse Solomon do?
God.
At the end of the day, he's just a big Jew.
Sophie, I'm telling you, he is going to literally, this guy is two lover boys away from making a bad decision and fully trying to get with Amanda Batula. And if the other Dumois rumor that just came out in the couple this past weekend is true, maybe it's gonna happen because Sophie, tell the audience what the other rumor that came out this weekend was.
There were actually two. There was one saying that I think it was at the Loverboy event, which was airing during the finale or during the reunion part 1 last week. That Kyle was apparently cozying up with a mystery woman who was not his wife. And there was another Dumois sighting of him cheersing to his impending divorce, which is like, I don't know, like,
balloons.
But like, I don't know, like, how loud were they that they were like, cheers to my impending divorce?
See, Sophie, I don't know if I believe. I feel like.
Here's the other thing. Did you see that Amanda deleted all of the pictures with her and Kyle on her Instagram?
Fuck you. That's not true. Wait, Sophie, fuck you. That's not true.
Yes, it is. Go look right now. Look right now. Sophie,
no. Stop it.
Yeah.
Oh, Amanda. I'm like, how do I spell Amanda?
I love when I get to break news to Ryan because it never happens.
Oh my God, you guys. Wait, no, here's one. February 7th. Oh, here, no, if you go down, not
a lot. A lot of them have been removed. You have to like really like look to find them.
Okay, well, but here's the crazy thing, Sophie. When did this happen? Because they were just at the Watch What Happens Live 15th anniversary party at the Boom Boom Room in New York, celebrating Andy Cohen's 15 years on Watch What Happens Live, and they were doing press. So when did she start to leading this?
I just saw this today.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I mean, I am not necessarily like pro, like, yay, divorce. But I think in this case, it's probably the best thing for both of them.
Oh my God, Jesse Solomon, his calcified balls right now are like so excited.
Hell
like,
yeah.
Oh my God. What would Jesse Solomon do? Put 6 inches in a Batula. Sorry. That's gross. That's crazy. So you guys
very curious about that. Very, very, very curious.
Okay, and we didn't even get to like Carl and Lindsay.
Wait, they also haven't been on either of each other's Watch What Happens Live appearances recently.
Yeah, but on Monday they were at the Watch What Happens Live party.
I know. So like, I don't know, maybe they were just like showing face there to support Andy together. Like, I don't know. But
is there, I know I hate to, as I get deeper into this, I always like, is this like staged? Is any of this shit staged? I get now like, I'm so confused what's real and what's not. We had like this Tom Sandoval, Billy Lee, Victoria mess that happened over the weekend as well, which we'll get to.
Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, I'll explain that in a second, but I just want to finish the Summer House stuff first. That is mind-blowing to me. Wow, okay. So the last thing, Carl and Lindsay, we didn't even get to them, is that they came out swinging, both of them. Also, what's going on with Carl's hair lately? Carl's hair is
I'm
wrecked.
Concerned. I'm a little bit concerned for him.
But I will say, like, Carl and Lindsay are both at Andrea's wedding right now, and I reached out to Andrea about his wedding this weekend, and he was like, "Thank you so much, Orion. I appreciate your kindness always." Oh, that's not. My voice is wrecked, but he
would say that though. He would say,
"Oh, he's such a nice guy." No, he did. He wrote me back. He was like, "I thank you so much, Orion. I love you.
I appreciate your kindness always."
And then I wanted to DM back. I was like, "What's going on with Carl and Lindsay?" But I know he wouldn't tell me anything. But they're both there.
What if you're like baby bump?
Yeah. Hey, bro. Between you and me, is Lindsay preggers?
Was Lindsay hitting the open bar?
Yeah, exactly. That would be a good in if I ask Andrea, is there an open bar at your wedding? And then will you let the Summer House cast have an open bar, including Lindsay, and see if he laughs or not? Okay, Carl and Lindsay came out swinging at the reunion, both of them. Were there any details given in this reunion that surprised you in any way about Carl and Lindsay?
It was interesting that Carl was clearly like caught in that lie about basically everything that has gone wrong in Carl's life is because of Lindsay's fault. Like, he manages to blame everything on Lindsay. He's such a gaslighter, but he was clearly caught in the lie about Kyle not being a groomsman. And it was like Lindsay pressuring him.
And then it wasn't at all.
Well, you know what? Actually, I asked him if he could have one groomsman from the Summer House crew. Would it be Kyle, Andrea, or Luke? He said Andrea. And
dude, Kyle's like posture, so he like slumped. He
looked genuinely really upset, which was sad. Kyle like has his moments where I'm like, you're such a fucking piece of shit, but also I love you so much. I never want you off.
I love Kyle Cook so much. Even though sometimes I hate him.
I really do. There's something so endearing about him. But Carl didn't deny that. Like, he clearly was like caught in the lie.
Sophie, that's what's fascinating to watch is that Lindsay and Carl are both at that stage of their breakup where they're fucking slinging truths at each other of like, well, you did. I mean, and also, what the fuck was up with? Sorry for the language,
Andy.
Folks, today.
Wait, are you gonna say Andy?
What do you mean?
No, just that I thought was that Andy was like being kind of like an asshole to Lindsay. Like, he like does not like Lindsay, and it was.
But Sophie, he's always been that way towards Lindsay. He's always been like that. But what I was gonna say was that the Carl pulling Paige aside at BravoCon and giving dirt about Lindsay and her friend not allowing a photo shoot to happen, which, by the way, I don't know. Like, I couldn't tell. I've watched it like 3 times now. I couldn't tell if Lindsay was caught in that lie or if it didn't happen at all. But regardless, why is Carl going up to like Paige on her birthday and like because it's trying to like make him look like a hero all of a sudden? But like, what a shitty thing to do. By the way, if Lindsay did do that, that's also a shitty thing. I'm not saying that. But for Carl to do that, it just shows that he is trying to hit below the belt at Lindsay to make himself look better.
He's trying to turn everyone against Lindsay, and he has been trying to turn everyone against Lindsay, clearly. And also, like, Carl's a liar. Like, he's been caught in so many lies this season. Why would Paige believe him? I guess it's like confirmation bias where she just like knows that she hates Lindsay and Lindsay hates her. So like, of course that they would try to sabotage her photo shoot. Like that doesn't even like make sense.
But Paige said she almost didn't go to her birthday party at BravoCon because it upset her so much. And I'm like, wait, upset. what is going on here? Why would that like, it was so confusing to me.
I don't understand why she would like trust anything Carl says. Like why? Like I don't get that.
Well, you said it yourself a second ago because she doesn't like Lindsay. So you're going to try.
And
also, I'm saying that Lindsay, like when you probably live with her on a day-to-day basis or do this show, you probably see sides of her or even more than we get to see. And they just don't get along like that. And that's fine. But you're more apt to believe bullshit about somebody else. What I'm starting to like, and I fought against all season because I really do appreciate Carl's sober journey. And I want the best for him and all of these people, except for Tom Sandoval and Jax Taylor, is that I'm starting to, people are telling me that he has a real bad anger problem. And even Lindsay says it. But I was like, no, no. But then Captain Lee from Below Deck came out this week and he had done an interview with Carl around BravoCon. Carl then reached out and said, you can't air it. And then also went on to kind of yell at Captain Lee and say, you're using me, da-da-da-da-da. And God, I've talked to Captain Lee once on this show and you've seen him on Below Deck. Captain Lee doesn't fuck around. Captain Lee, he likes doing all this stuff, but he is like kind of a man of honor in a lot of ways. And he said, like, he was shocked. He was like, I've never seen Carl do that. It was very highly offensive. He was so angry. I mean, it was so out of pocket for him.
As Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
And that really gave credence to everything for me that Lindsay had been saying, even saying like the day that they split up, he was in the other bedroom and Lindsay came over and said, what's this email about them wanting to film with us? And then Lindsay said, and then you yelled at me for 20 straight minutes. But this is also a confusing thing. How was Lindsay blindsided if Carl was yelling at that point, I'm this close to canceling the wedding?
Okay, maybe we talked about this 2 weeks ago. I can't remember. But like the thing about like everyone being like, well, Lindsay, how could she have been blindsided? Lindsay is so used to toxicity and chaos in her relationships. And a lot of that goes back to her raised in that. That's normal for her. Like that is like, to her, she's like, okay, well, we're still getting married, obviously. Like that is normal for her. She 100% would have still gotten married if Carl hadn't ended it. He did do them a favor. He did both of them a favor, obviously. It's the way he did it. And yeah, the fact that she would record their conversation, like that one conversation where she like was taking a video to record it. And then he kept being like, stop yelling at me, Lindsay, when he realized that she was recording. Like, that's crazy. Like,
well, then it came out that they were recording each other all the time. In fact, in the second part of the reunion, it comes out, Lindsay says she locked herself in the bathroom when Carl would get upset.
That, like, all of it is really, I know that neither of them are perfect. And Lindsay, obviously.
Yeah, by the way, Lindsay is not perfect, obviously.
Lindsay's no saint, sweetheart. That's in the words of Jax. But
hey, ask where Lindsay's been spending her nights the last 4 months.
Who she's been sleeping with the past 4 months, sweetheart. I know that Lindsay's not perfect. I will say that, you know, I know that I'm always a Lindsay defender and I am frequently team Lindsay, but she is authentically herself. She is who she is. Like that's, I feel like the difference is that, and it really is kind of confirmed a little bit by Captain Lee's comments about
I gotta tell you,
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I think there actually are two sides of Carl, and that's what's kind of like.
Well, somebody was, I don't know the term. Somebody was saying the term dry drunk of somebody that like, oh, this is like a dry drunk behavior or something. I don't know if that's the term, and I don't want to offend anybody on their sobriety journey. But I will say when Captain Lee said it, to me, I overuse the phrase reliable narrator, right, guys? But to me, Captain Lee is a reliable narrator. Like, I'm like, I believe Captain Lee.
Yeah.
Like, that is somebody that I'm like, oh, shit. Carl yelled at you?
Also, on another recent podcast that Lindsay did, I can't remember which one, she said that Carl was smoking weed every single day. So
smoke weed every day.
And he wasn't exactly transparent about that. You could tell that he didn't like that Lindsay brought that up on camera.
Yeah.
Which I also think is interesting that he has branded himself as sober, not California sober, because there is a such thing as California sober. Ask James Kennedy. And that is totally okay. There's nothing wrong with, I mean, I'm not the expert on like sobriety and addiction, but if that's what works for you, that's what works for you. But don't act like you are 100% clean and sober when you're smoking weed, because that can be another coping mechanism and turn into another addiction. I just don't think that that's being transparent and real, especially when you're making this your personality and your brand and trying to make money off of being sober when you're not actually sober.
Hey guys, I just want to stop here 1 second and say, if you completely disagree with what we're saying, I get it. I understand that. Don't leave nasty comments or anything. I get it. We don't always have to agree or see eye to eye. This is just how we are seeing this
did I say
specific show.
Really? I feel like
no, not. I already know. No, we're both coming out so hard for Lindsay that I think people will be like, I think Carl has so much good. Still, even with all of this, I think Carl has such a solid fan base, and I think he should. Yeah. I'm not not wanting that. I'm just saying this is what I'm seeing, and it was the Captain Lee thing was eye opening, and some of the details that was coming out, I was like, Carl really does get I don't know if he gives as good as he gets, but he gives. It's not like he's just sitting there doing nothing. This guy is working behind the scenes. He's telling Paige secrets. He's telling Kyle and Amanda secrets. That's wild. He really is campaigning.
He's the real puppet master, not Sia.
Oh, watch Wes Wilson. By the way, I just thought maybe it's not what would Jesse Solomon do. Who would Jesse Solomon do? Oh God, Sophie.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm just kidding,
so that was the first part of Summer. Oh, one last story actually. Did you see this? That Craig Conover made a statement through his publicist.
Yeah, it's that was 2 months ago at this point. What took you so long?
Well, no, so the Spritz Society, we've already done that story on other podcasts, or So Bad It's Good. But then Craig Conover this past week reacted to Kyle Cook's statement, because Kyle came out and said, listen, here's my Watch What Happens Live comments were horrible, but I actually took Craig aside on a dinner, and at the very end, he told me he was investing with Spritz Society, and I said, well, give me time to make a counteroffer. And Craig had said, no, I'm sorry. And it was very weird. So Craig, through a rep this weekend, said, representative wrote, Craig is deeply disappointed and saddened by Kyle's abrupt accusations. The truth only hurts one person in this instance, and it's not Craig. Therefore, he will not comment further on this matter, nor be drawn into an unprofessional arena. So that was the statement by the PR.
Why did that PR statement take so long? It was so interesting. I feel like just this happened 3 weeks ago. Why did it take 3 weeks?
Guys, if you're not watching Summer House, get on board right now, because this season in July that they're about to film is potentially going to be the best season of reality television ever. Look how many Craig has beef with Kyle now. This is insane.
Right. And it's not that Craig is a Summer House cast member, but he's dating one and occasionally on the show. And Amanda and Paige are such good friends that is that going to cause tension between them? And then you have the Wes and Sierra of it all, and the Lindsay and Carl of it all. Are Amanda and Kyle divorced or getting divorced? There's kind of subplots.
Okay, so let's move over to the Valley really quickly, because we had the finale. God, I can't believe that was this week. It feels like a month ago. We had the finale of the Valley, that rhymes, and Jax and Brittany, they picked back up cameras 6 months later. We got to see their split of Brittany leaving, and then, of course, that spilled into social media and podcasts after that, where so much shit is happening. What was your opinion of the finale of the Valley?
I mean, it was depressing. You're watching two couples call it quits. And
well, deservedly so too. Does on both accounts. Michelle and Jesse Lally, hell yeah.
I think that it's definitely for the best. I think that with Brittany, she wants so hard for Jax to care, which is really sad. Jax does not give a fuck. And I think I said this like a while ago. Just, keep reminding everyone that I'm an early adopter of not liking West, and also saying that Jax, when he saw single Sandoval and single Schwartz living it up, he knew what he had to do. And now it's single Jax and single Tom, and they're just out of town.
Well, yeah, by the way, Schwartz and Jax were at DJ James Kennedy's Vegas show this weekend, and DJ James Kennedy brought them out. And so I think Jax presents one way in his social media and the press, where he's depressed, his brain's broken, he has mental health issues.
His brain is sprained. When someone sprains their ankle, that's like his brain.
That's why I want to point people to the last season of Vanderpump Rules that he was in, the conversations he had with Ariana. He always uses this, but he never does anything about it. And in the finale of The Valley, when he said, yeah, I didn't go to therapy, it was like actually way too far. I wasn't scared. It was too far. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
It's also so funny how like he apparently was like, you know what? Like on this season of The Valley, like I can't remember where I read. It was like on Twitter. He did an interview, some podcast. There were like a lot of things that weren't shown, including what he was going through this season. And it's like, Jax, you are always going through something. You're always a work in progress.
Jax goes, oh, I don't know why they didn't show any of the fun, good stuff that we filmed this season. I'm like, Jax, you fucking know how reality shows work at this point. Like, don't act like this was supposed to be like a hip hooray, like taking our kids to the circus all season. Like BS.
He's so annoying.
What'd you think of Janet?
I mean, I am rooting for Brittany. Never thought I'd say that. I went many years hating Brittany, but I do think she was under the thumb of, a narcissist or whatever you want to call Jax. He is a man of many personality disorders, I would say. So yeah, you feel for Brittany. I know there were a lot of times where I was like, she's an accomplice. She knows what she's doing. And I still, maybe believe that to some degree, but I do, you feel for her.
It seems like she has woken up a great deal. And for her to say on The Valley, when she's like, I make my own money, I do good, I have friends, I was like, hell yeah, Brittany, get the fuck out of there. Like, that's good for you. Go raise your son, go be happy, because you're like being dragged down by this guy that is a professed miserable person, and he doesn't do anything about it. Like, if you have mental health issues, go do it. Like, he knows how to work out at work gym classes every day. Go spend that time at a therapist as well, period. But you won't, because at the end of the day, he went on this show so Brittany would do this. He wanted Brittany to leave him. He did not want to do this. Like, he wouldn't do it. He wanted her to do it, but he does not love her the way she wants to be loved.
He was pulling a Kelsey Grammer.
Yes. I mean, yes. He brought, I mean, like in a way, like, I mean, and I think guys, Jax is not as dumb as he always wants you to believe, period. He's just not. What are you watching? What's on TV?
About that?
What's on TV?
Oh, wait, can you hear it?
No, I can see you looking up. What are you?
Oh, nothing. I plugged in my desktop for the light, and then I got distracted by an email I got. Sorry.
Wait, is your wall on?
No, but my desktop monitor gives me like good light. It's a challenge to find my lighting, and the desktop monitor definitely helps you guys. Okay.
What did you think of Janet? What did you think of Janet and the Valley, the finale? And Zach.
Fucking Janet. Is it true though? Okay, first of all, I saw that Janet was the Janet that they talked about who was gonna have a threesome.
The threesome with Dayna and Max Boyens, yeah.
Yeah, which pissed Scheana off.
Which, by the way, Max Boyens, what if Max Boyens hooks up with Brittany? Like, Brittany, hook up with Max Boyens. He hooks up with everybody.
Sure, why not? Why not at this point? But is it true that Janet was a huge Vanderpump Rules fan and moved to LA to like buddy up to Scheana and it worked?
No, not at all. Well, this is like, I did a whole hour plus interview with Janet a couple weeks ago that I was not able to air, but she told the story again on there, is that she she watched all of these shows, but she was like a fan like us. But she went up to Scheana at this pool party, I think at the Standard, but it wasn't to be on the show. But like in classic Scheana being Scheana, they actually did hit it off and become friends. It's like, so I don't subscribe to the theory that this was some overall plan at all. But I do think she was like us, where like, fuck it, I'm going to go up and say hi to Sandoval right now. And then like like I think it sounds weirder than it actually was.
Wait, why couldn't you air the Janet interview?
From what I was told, because that wasn't through Bravo. Like, we know each other, so we had texted, we did it, and then after the fact, the Bravo PR allegedly was not happy with that. So,
oh my God, Bravo PR always tries to ruin the fun.
No. By the way, I love Bravo PR. I'm so thankful to have what I have. But Sophie, see, that's the frustrating thing. Like, if you're Nick or Heather or like a handful of podcasts, and I get it, but it's like hard for like the rest of us, like trying to get good interviews. It's really hard when you have to cut so much, or you just have to not air something at all. I don't get why
Nick Viall though gets to like, why does he not have to abide by like?
I think because he gets so many downloads. I think it's so established and successful that it is beneficial, because like, listen, we're a great mid-tier podcast. We do so well, and we've built and built and built. But I think you do genuinely get so many downloads that it does behoove whoever to actually promote whatever they need to promote.
Ugh, I hate that for us.
Do you think Jax Taylor is going to be on Nick Viall and do the dance he did with West?
Honestly, I think that those two coming together would cause
a Big Bang Theory.
It'd be like the Big Bang. The amount of rage and the amount of misogyny against women. Oh my God. No.
It is interesting for a man. Like, I mean, if you do want to look even at what I do, I try to always explain, I'm not mansplaining, but I'm sure like Nick is kind of mansplaining relationships, right? Or Jax does the same thing about how
literally everything.
But I don't know. Anyways, Jax and Brittany, their podcast still exists, and they had their When Reality Hits podcast. They recorded it together, talking about the finale of the Valley. And Brittany even said about the moment with Lala at the reunion, when Lala all of a sudden brought Brittany up, of like, Kentucky Muffin tries to come for me about her nanny situation. Brittany was like, we've already dealt with that and apologized, and it was a bad day. I was going through
Lala. That was so Lala trying to get on the Valley.
Well, it was something, because Brittany was like, I don't even know where that came from, because listen, Cruz has developmental issues. We are so like, it took forever to get somebody that Cruz could be around and we could trust. And like, it's a very big deal. But like, Brittany was just like, I don't know where that came from. Like, it wasn't like how Lala made it out to be. And I was so like, Lala lives for that kind of reality show bullshit.
Yeah. And she's so like contrived. It's her trying to get on the Valley. It's her trying to like stir up drama. She knows exactly what she's doing, and we all see right through it. But I guess the creator of the Valley was like, we're not bringing anyone from Vanderpump onto the Valley. Like, our cast is busting.
Yeah, we don't need it.
Yeah, we don't need anyone. We're just fine. And I'm sure Scheana and Lala are like, no.
Yeah, Dodie was on the show this week, and she was like, that got to be left in, of like saying, we don't need Scheana or Lala. And they don't need, they just don't need it right now. They've got so much good.
Kristen doesn't have a good relationship with any of them anymore.
It doesn't. I don't think she does.
And her and Stassi don't anymore.
By the way, Stassi made a comment this week saying that The Valley is her favorite show on television because they're all sociopaths. Everybody's and I thought that was also Stassi made a comment saying, listen, I would never have forgiven Jax or Kristen if I wasn't on a reality TV show.
Yeah.
Like, that was necessary, but I never would have done that in real life. And I thought that was a really interesting comment to be made. But also this weekend, we still had Valley drama that spills out into podcasts and Instagram.
Wait, is it Billy Lee?
No, we're gonna end with,
I need to find out the Billy Lee drama.
Yes, Janet posted a Instagram story or a post with her and Scheana this weekend saying 2 Bravo fan favorites, and Scheana reposted that. And then Zach Wickham in his Instagram story did a small text and it said, marked safe from Bravo fan favorites. because Janet was saying that her and like playing on the fact that her and Scheana are very hated right now. Even though I think Lala is more hated than Scheana completely, but I thought that was like Zach was like marked safe from.
I know, I love him so much. I'm obsessed with Zach.
I mean, he's a gigantic troll, but like this is weird because him. It's like, guys, don't shoot your wad on Instagram and podcasts before you pick back up cameras in July. Like, save it, guys. I'm tired of the podcast. Like, save it for the actual interaction because Kristen, Janet, everybody's getting each other so angry at each other that they're not going to even be able, like, that's why a reunion now, I almost changed my mind, would have been okay because you could have actually stopped a lot of this bullshit on the side and then been like, let's go into season 2.
I'm so mad there's no reunion. Like, I'm actually upset.
Yeah. It's really, really dumb.
Bravo PR, if you're listening.
No. I love you, Bravo PR. I love you. Okay, let's get to, also, by the way.
Billy Lee drama.
No, when Lala Kent, she is going to be on the Schwartz pod, the 2 T's in a pod. And if you want to talk about cringy internet promos, go watch Freddie Mellencamp's promo with Lala, where Freddie is trying to do it's not about the pasta. Like she's doing that TikTok thing where she like it's so awkward. And you can almost even tell that Lala finds it like awkward, but I'm so curious. I love Vanderpod recaps, the account that like actually listens to all these and types out the notes because I don't like to listen to them, but that's a great account to follow to keep.
Yeah. I love that account too.
Okay. Billy Lee drama. So Billy Lee has a podcast called Billy and the Kid. And Joseph was a guest on there because she's extending her 15 minutes of fame.
Also, Joe, that episode. Wait, I know I'm saying this as I interrupt you.
Yeah,
I saw a clip of that podcast, and all Joe does, it was like at the reunion where she would just talk over someone. It makes it unlistenable.
I watched some of the video clips on Instagram. I was just entranced by her hand movements because she can't. And I know that's ADD and ADHD, so I'm not. But like, it's wild. It's like a kid's like, and Billy would be like, well, there is a story. And Joe would be like, oh my God, I know. Exactly. I know the story that you're going to tell. I know it. Oh my God.
And then she would get to a part where Joe was like, oh, I actually don't know this part.
Yeah.
Shut up. Just let her tell the story.
So basically, Billy Lee gets into this whole thing where she was like, oh, because there was like Billy Lee had unfollowed Victoria and Tom Sandoval, right? Like a couple weeks ago or a month ago. And she finally says all of this stuff of that Victoria thought that her and Tom, Billy Lee and Tom were sleeping together, that they are, they're drunks and druggies, that they're vampires, that they stay up and like they wake up when it gets dark. Tom wasn't making meetings. He was like missing out on appointments. She actually said that she got a intervention set up for his friends and people that were concerned at Kyle Chan's, that there was going to be an intervention set up for Tom, but Tom didn't go to it because Tom said he's feeling sick lately.
Well, why would Tom Sandoval like know about the intervention in advance? Isn't it supposed to kind of be like a...
Well, I think they said like, oh, come to Kyle's for something. I don't know what's up, dude. I know this is an intervention, dude. I'm not coming to this shit, dude. I got better things to do. I got traitors, dude. Traitor. That's a big deal, dude. I want him to go to the very end on traitors because that would be hysterical. But Billy Lee just says Victoria's a very bad presence in Tom Sandoval's life, that it was too much for Billy Lee to be around to watch this man get taken down by this person. She doesn't have a job. She's just a professional partier. All of this insanity, like really, like all of a sudden revealing all of this shit. Then Victoria and Kyle Chan went live with Up and Adam Newell, who I love. And there was an interview on Friday night, I believe. And there wasn't a lot of information you got out of it, except that everybody says, well, I can produce receipts or I can do this, but nobody's really producing great receipts on any of this shit. So they're saying that Billy Lee is like the one that's causing problems and trouble. And Billy Lee's in love with Tom and wanted Tom to give her a baby. I don't even know how that all works. But there was all of this insanity. So then Billy Lee through the weekend was like on Instagram telling more of her side of the story, but none of it really added up to like, and this is crazy because Tom is in Scotland or wherever they filmed Traitors without his phone, and all of this shit goes down. Like, I was like, this is so weird. Like, how is this all going down when he leaves?
I'm pretty sure Schwartz and his girlfriend Sophia
unfollowed Victoria.
Apparently unfollowed Victoria too. So like what? Like I feel like Victoria might actually be, you know.
Well, now go with me here.
Like be the problem, but I think like obviously Sandoval is the biggest.
Well, go with me here. Maybe they're all bad news. Everybody across the board. Maybe Billy Lee's bad news. Maybe Victoria. Maybe even Kyle Chan is bad news. Because this seems so weird and so messy. And if you are a friend of Tom's at all, would you really blast this all out everywhere?
Who, Billy Lee?
Any of them. Victoria, Kyle. Would you really go on a podcast or a YouTube channel and start spilling all of this stuff when you actually have a job in Scotland on Traitors?
No.
Yeah. So I don't understand why they're doing this. Even if Kyle and Victoria really love Tom, why are they participating?
Because right now Sandoval like can't even like respond or know what's going on.
So he's gonna come out of like Traitors Castle, get his phone, and be like, "What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me, dude? No!" You know, like he's gonna freak out if this is real.
That's gonna be his reaction when he's the first person banished.
Well, yeah, like because last year he was on Armed Forces with JoJo Siwa.
And JoJo Siwa carried him up a mountain.
Yeah, to carry him up, you know, and he was showing pictures of his Rachel of like, this is my girl Rachel, dude. I can't wait to get back to her. And now he's over in Scotland probably showing nude pictures of Victoria to Dorinda of like, this is my new girl Victoria, dude. She used to date DiCaprio, dude. This is awesome. Like, and also, but it made it sound like Tom.
Like, oh, she's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. You know, I just get scared though, because Billy Lee made it sound like they're like not just drinking, like they're drugging, and like,
well, yeah, if they're
dark, that's dark. Like that's dark.
If they're up, yeah, that is dark. If they're, I mean, he hasn't hidden his, you know, affinity for
mushrooms,
mushrooms. But if he's staying up literally all night and waking up when the sun is going down again, like that actually would be my sleep schedule, not because of drugs, just like because I'm like most creative and like fun at night and I like hate the mornings. But yeah, that doesn't sound like something that like a sober, like employed, productive member of society. That's not like how they live their lives.
I caught a little bit of Jolene Lunzer, who I love, her YouTube live last night after the wedding. And you know, I was like, I was commenting, I was like, what if though Victoria actually is a vampire? Like, what if they are actually vampires and she's bitten Tom and now he's a vampire? Like, what if we should be taking this more seriously and they're actual vampires?
You're gonna give some like fan fiction author out there like such a good idea, and then it's
oh my god, could you imagine a Vanderpump Rules vampire storyline?
Why hasn't there been a Vanderpump like fanfic yet?
Season 12.
You know what? I'm gonna write the first Summer House fanfic,
Sophie,
and it's gonna be Jesse Solomon and Amanda's like illicit affair.
Sophie, 6 years ago, I did write Vanderpump Rules fan fiction, and my fan fiction was when Jax was still on the show, and it was the season finale, and at the very end, a baby gets left at the doorsteps of SUR, like in the SUR alleyway, and the note is from like a Vegas person. It says, "Jax, this is your child. I can't take care of it anymore. You have to." And then the next season was all about Jax, Schwartz, and Sandoval, 3 men and a baby, having to raise this baby together. You know, and Schwartz was like, I don't know how to change poopy diapers. And like, it was like really a lot of fun.
Is that, so that's like, okay, I guess that's fanfic. It's not like a like sexy, like love story.
It's like a fun, goofy comedy. I mean, Jax did get somebody knocked up and then the baby gets, I mean, so there's darkness there.
Will you send that to me, please?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So the other thing is, part of me was like, is this like, are they just drumming up shit to get like downloads on a podcast or showing producers that we do have what it takes for a season 12? But at the same time, I worry for Tom, even though he's like, whatever. but like, I still don't know if I care about any of this stuff. It just seems messy and stupid. Yeah. And there's Ariana about to like host Love Island that premieres this Tuesday. Right. She's in fucking Fiji. Like,
I clearly hadn't even cared enough to like investigate the Billie Lee drama further, which is why I needed you to explain it to me. So yeah, it's not like super interesting drama. But
it's also what we suspected. They're all bad news for each other. Like, they're all like Billie Lee. It seems like such a codependent relationship that she had with Sandoval. She swears that they never slept together, but it is so codependent.
Yeah.
But like Ariana's loud. Like, Ariana doesn't have to do any podcasts. She doesn't have to talk shit about anybody. She's literally just working and collecting checks. Like, how blessed is that?
I bookmarked an article by Stephanie McNeil.
I love her. She did the Glamour article on.
She used to be a BuzzFeed writer, but now she's a Glamour writer. And I bookmarked that article, and I haven't read it yet because it was just in my bookmarks, and I like forgot to go back and read it. But it is basically, the title says how fame ruined Vanderpump Rules, how Ariana achieved what everyone in that cast wanted to achieve, which is like mainstream fame and success.
And that Vanderpump Rules wasn't used to having one single celebrity because they were all celebrities. Right. And then Ariana has now gotten so far ahead of them that they don't even know how to recover because they're just not used to somebody being this far ahead of them. By the way, Stephanie McNeil was on the show last year, and she wrote a great book called Swipe Up for More. And I thought it was fantastic.
And she's actually also featured in the documentary that
So wait, what is this? Not to make a hard left, but like, you are in a documentary that just premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival this week?
Yes. So it actually is about Micah Stauffer, who's the YouTuber she was like a mommy vlogger who adopted a son from China, used him for views and content and ads and all of the things that mommy vloggers do. And then all of a sudden he disappeared from her channel. And it turns out she had quote unquote rehomed him like a dog. And obviously there's a lot of backlash.
Like Rachel with Hippie?
The video that they uploaded, it was called An Update on Our Family, which is what the documentary, it's a docuseries, actually 3 episodes. It's called An Update on Our Family. And I had tweeted about it when it happened, which kind of like exploded.
How long ago did it happen?
It was 2020. It was 4 years ago now. And I actually filmed my talking head like 2.5 years ago. And I like kind of forgot about it. It had been so long, but it was at the Tribeca Film Festival. And I think it's going to be on Max. So it's going to be, but I saw it at the Tribeca Film Festival. And there was like a step and repeat. And I was like, oh my God, my first step and repeat. I looked on like Getty Images and there were like other photos. The photographer was like, she's not important enough. And just never uploaded it. I was like, oh my God, I want to see my step and repeat.
Dude, that's like
a loser. But it was really interesting to like obviously watch myself on like a big screen at an AMC theater. That was like very strange. I don't recommend it also because I was like, I had a huge zit that day. But
you're telling the audience you don't recommend them being talking heads in a documentary.
Yes,
that's what you're saying. Okay.
I do not recommend it. Absolutely do not recommend. But they were like, there was like a bit where they were kind of like explaining who I was, which was like also very surreal and like strange feeling. And they showed on the big screen, like Ryan's Instagram. Look, if you're watching on YouTube.
I didn't give permission for them to show my Instagram. Are you kidding me? No, guys, it's so cool. The images Maritza makes for Monday, one of the images is on there with the collage of photos. And I will say, when I was looking at the pictures you sent me today, it's very cool. And I know this is sentimental, but my mom and dad are in the bottom left. So my mom made a documentary. So I'm very, very ecstatic that they used that image. I didn't know that. But when can we see this? You know when we're going to be able to see this?
I don't know, actually. I think that information is to come when it's officially going to be available on streaming. But that's why I was like, I need to go to the premiere to see it. And I actually,
besides you, did you like it? Besides your stuff?
Yeah, I think it was really well done. It was very, I would say there was a lot of good commentary, not just about the Micah Stauffer situation, but also family vloggers in general and people who exploit their kids on the internet. So if you have strong feelings about that, I would definitely watch it when it comes out. So I'll let you guys know. But yeah, anyway, Steph McNeil was in that also. And she was her parts, she sounded like obviously so intelligent and professional. And I was like, yeah, like what a piece of shit mom. Now I said some good stuff, but yeah, Steph McNeil is so smart. And
I will say, like, when we get to podcast together, it's like, I love this because we're super loose and it's actually like a real conversation where we're just like, blah, 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 blah.
Like, not
I think both of us, we have like the ability to talk intelligently. We just like to talk shit and have fun on Mondays.
We can turn it on. We can turn it on.
We can turn it on like that, folks. Don't even.
To be like, if I wanted to sound smart, I could. I'm choosing not to.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. Oh, finally, Real Housewives of Orange County trailer premiered this week.
Wait,
did you watch it?
Of Freddie Mellencamp.
Freddie Mellencamp, and starts off the trailer where Freddie has finally gotten back on a Housewives show, and she's like makes a slam on Vicky Gunvalson. And it's like another joke that's reaching that I don't think lands, but it's like Freddie's thing. So for all the Freddie Mellencamp fans, she's in an episode of Real Housewives of Orange County, but the trailer was a great trailer. It looks fantastic. The John Jansen stuff. Shannon's ex is now with Alexis Bellino. They have clips of that. They have Shannon going, "You don't know how dark John is. You don't know." You have Tamara coming at Shannon Bedore. You have the new cast member, who seems awesome. Like, it seems like a great season. Did you enjoy the trailer?
Oh my God, I'm so excited for it. Shannon Bedore looks incredible, by the way. Like,
yeah, I mean, I might run my car into a house. Like, she looks great.
Or like,
sorry.
I mean, like, it's for Shannon, I think it's the Ozempic, and I think Emily is on it as well. And I hate to compliment, like, oh, like being on Ozempic makes you so beautiful, but Shannon looks great.
Yeah,
she looks amazing. But what was the other thing? Oh yeah, wait. Did we mention what Freddie said at the beginning of the trailer when she goes to the Housewives and Vicky? And Vicky was like, she's such a bitch. Freddie, what does that make you?
There's no awareness. There's just no awareness at all.
What does that make you? But anyway,
there's also a scene of Shannon Bedore having to blow into, like, she's obviously like has restrictions on driving where she has to blow into a breathalyzer thing that's attached to her car. And you see Archie the dog like outside of the car going like, what's this bitch doing now? Like, it was crazy.
I saw someone be like, Archie needs like an emotional support animal for himself.
Archie's been through it. Archie needs a support dog just to like travel with Shannon now. That's hysterical. Guys, we didn't hit like 30 news stories that I know this is
Summer House for like
so much. I hope that's okay, you guys. Don't come at us. I do want to say, I want to recommend a couple of things. Ren Fair on HBO. Have you watched this? It's a new series about a Renaissance fair in Texas. And there's only 2 episodes out right now. And it's this guy that started one of the biggest Renaissance fairs in the country. It pulls in millions of dollars every year, but he's 85 years old. No, he's 85 years old. He's going to live for another 10 years. His like guides have told him, but he also is a sugar daddy and he wants to have sex a lot. He's named his penis. It is so bizarre. The docuseries. It's really well done. It is so like all these people are such characters. We watched the first episode this week. I haven't seen the second one yet, but the first episode, it just cracked me up. I give it a shot.
When you said like Ren Fair, I was like, is that the movie that Nicolas Cage was like a vampire in? Speaking of vampires,
what film is that? Renfield. That's Renfield. I recommended Renfield.
It was like a huge flop. Like no one.
Yeah. No. This is Ren Fair about Renaissance fairs.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, I mean, take an edible, watch that. You will die. And then this June 13th, I have not seen this yet, but I'm really excited. There's a documentary by it's called Brats, about the Brat Pack from the 80s, which was like Rob Lowe, Andrew McCarthy, Molly Ringwald, Ali Sheedy. It's for kids from the 80s, you guys. They did Breakfast Club, all the John Hughes films, Pretty in Pink, but it's a documentary that Andrew McCarthy, who was an actor in all these films, directed about this whole experience in the 80s. And I can't wait to see it because I think it just shows celebrity in a different decade. And you get to compare with what celebrities are now. So I'm so excited to see that. It premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival this past week as well. So it's called Bratz, and I think it's on Hulu on the 13th.
That was before my time. I mean,
I know. So it really is. But I think you would probably. I think it's one of those things you saw John Hughes films. You saw Breakfast Club and
No, I'm definitely gonna check it out.
What did you guys watch?
I have a recommendation. It's a book, actually, and I posted about it on my Instagram. But in case you missed it, I didn't plan this, but I realized that I had left it on my desk. So I'm going to show it. It's called College Girl Missing by Sean Cohen, and it's about a young woman named Lauren Spear who actually went missing from Indiana University, which is my alma mater, while I was a student there. So it has been on my mind now it was 13 years ago. On June 3rd, 2011 is when it happened.
That's really good.
And no one has ever found her or seen her since. She disappeared. You're going to have to read it to come to the conclusion that I think most people have come to. But yeah, it's great. Highly recommend it. And I actually am going on. Christy has been covering this case from the X Knows All podcast, has been covering this case on her own podcast for a while. And we realized we were both reading this book and that I also went to IU at the time that Lauren disappeared. So we had a really good conversation about it, and that's coming out soon also. So yeah, definitely recommend this book.
Well, I've got another book that I'd like to recommend.
Wow, you read also? Look at us.
Cop without a badge, bitch. Cop without a badge. How dare you bring this up?
I thought you were going to give a real book recommendation, but no.
No, I do recommend actually. No, but I will say, just you talking about that book right now, you might have just secured a talking head spot in a documentary that will probably be made about that story.
Honestly, you know what? I was just thinking about that while we were talking about docuseries. I was like, that needs to be a documentary, this case, it's just so crazy. I'm glad that this book is bringing it back in the spotlight, but it's obviously really sad.
Yeah, but I'm actually gonna get that on audiobook at the library, actually, because that sounds a really interesting story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, you guys, I know this is all over the place. I do not feel well, so I hope you had fun.
I'm sorry. I feel like I said a lot of controversial, annoying things.
I don't think I don't think it was that controversial. I think everybody is very disappointed in Wes Wilson. I think Wes is going to land on his feet, but also I think Wes truly doesn't seem to give a shit. He was literally doing TikToks the next day, showing his Portillo's order.
And he was liking comments.
He doesn't care.
Wes did nothing wrong. Him and Sierra were never dating.
We can't make him care. We can't make him. But I will say, it's he's a 29-year-old dude that thinks he has the world by the balls.
He has, though, lost 4,000 followers since the reunion aired, which makes me little.
They'll come back. Giddy. They'll come back. Yeah.
And changed his profile picture to this.
Yeah. What does that mean? What is that?
It's the meme of what's her name? DW from Arthur being tired with bags under her eyes.
See, this guy is so chronically online, like a lot of us, that he knows.
But he's also such a dumbass. He probably didn't realize that people could see what comments he likes. It says liked by author. He's so dumb.
I don't think he's as dumb. I think it's not necessarily Jax, but I think it is. I think he's well aware. His whole presence is
yeah, he's an internet boy, and
he's leaning in texting.
He was probably scrolling Twitter of everyone being this is the best season ever, and he was sending those.
Well, so wait, Sophie, what do you think? Honestly, though, as a woman, because you have Jesse Solomon that kind of is point blank saying, "I want to be out there. I want to sleep with a lot of girls. I want to date. I want to this." And I guess if you're upfront about that, I mean, it's not necessarily what I would want to do or a lot of people would want to do, but what is your viewpoint on men that are just out there trying to get a body count and just have fun but not commit? What's your view on men like that? And do you have any leeway when you are in your 20s to behave like that, or do you forgive men?
By the way, Jesse Solomon just turned 31, so he's not in his 20s. He could be considered an age where people start to get serious about settling down, you could say. And there's nothing wrong with wanting a hoe phase. A hoe phase, you could even say, is good for someone. It could be good for you to.
But you have to be upfront with women about your hoe phase.
Yeah, but be upfront about it. Don't lead people on and hurt them. I feel there were so many, like Sierra said, like West had like an out after like the horse date.
Yeah.
Like
he
had an out.
She gave him an out.
He intentionally continued to lead her
because he hadn't slept with her yet. So that makes me think that he just wanted to sleep with her.
Exactly. So that's what I would say is the difference between the two, is that Jesse's at least like upfront about it, in my opinion, and West is the one that's kind of like a snake.
Did you see that comment about him appropriating? Did you see that comment about him appropriating Black culture?
Who, West?
Yeah, West, of like with his like dances and his
the dance. Was it about that Nick Viall TikTok?
That, but also the night that they did a Loverboy event, Jesse and West. Well, I mean, it was probably in Chicago actually, and it showed him like just surrounded by fans, even after the reunion, just doing his little dance and like kind of loving the whole thing.
Such an annoying loser. You know what's also funny is that like viewing party, I guess, or that Loverboy event was like during the reunion. And all of those people being like, yeah, West. As soon as they went home and like watched the reunion, they're probably like, fuck. Like deleting the videos from their phone.
And the other thing too, and then we'll go, is that, there probably is a level where you do have to, like, all of a sudden when you get like even like a medium amount of success, or like people all of a sudden giving a shit about what you do, you probably do lose yourself a little and make a lot of bad choices. And so hopefully that's what West is dealing with right now. Cause it even seems like his parents said, we think you're going to look like a fucking idiot. But like even his facial reactions in the reunion just didn't seem like he genuinely cared. Exactly. And I think we all want him to be a person that genuinely cares, but you can't make somebody care.
Exactly.
And hopefully he's learned some kind of lesson from this. And also looking at Carl and Lindsay, I think that was the thing too, is that he saw this and going, I don't want my fucking relationship ever on TV like this. So he got out. I mean, like, not saying that's why he did it, but I'm sure that didn't help as well.
Totally.
Okay, you guys, go have a great week. Go off. We have great shows this week. We got some really cool guests. Come back every day. Rate this 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're a Jeff Lewis fan, I'll be back on Monday morning. If you hear this starting at midnight. And I'm trying to think of something like, be kind to each other. Like, what should I say? Like, be kind to each other out there, folks.
Be kind. You never know whose parents have a Hamptons house.
Yeah. Bye, guys.